Now that the course has been out for a little bit and I've received a ton of feedback from students, thanks for that, by the way, that's super valuable. I wanted to pop on for a quick message talking about like the overall process of the course, how valuable the comment section has been, how I'm going to handle Swift updates as this course ages, and also the introduction of a Slack channel for this course and my future courses where students can gather and talk about things and help each other out in real time. So first up, let's talk about the journey of this course, because the first pass where we're trying to get things working, I make some mistakes along the way. Don't get me wrong, there's a whole section at the end of the course called optimization where we go back and fix those mistakes, but I decided to leave those in to show that like development is a process, right? I want to dispel the misconception that you have to have your code perfect the first time through, right? You're not gonna make any mistakes, or you're not gonna have opportunities to refactor or better ways to write things. Like, you have to go through these projects like multiple times, right? The first step, the first pass, if you will, is getting things working, getting all the functionality working. And then you may be thinking like, cool, everything's working, project's done, but that's wrong. You still have a lot of work to do. Just because you finagled things together and got things working, now you need to take another pass at the project and clean things up. Like I said earlier, there's probably tons of opportunities to refactor. There may be better ways to write things or implement things. And it's going to take multiple passes over the project to optimize and clean things up. And again, that's what we do in this course. The first time through, we get things working. And then there's a whole section at the end called optimization where we fix things, refactor, etc. And again, I left that in because programmers aren't perfect. You don't just sit down and write perfect code your first try. It's a process. I compare it to like a sculpture, right? Like you have this giant boulder and then you just chip away at it and chisel until you have like this beautiful piece of art. That's exactly how coding's going. You're going to start off with that boulder. Hopefully by the end, you got a nice piece of art. Now let's talk about the comment section. I highly recommend reading through the comments, especially before you post a question, because most likely it's been answered in the comments. That's the thing I'm most impressed and happy about with this course, is the comment section has been awesome. Lots of great discussion going on in there. So if you're just watching the videos and not reading the comments, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. So, read the comments, join in on the discussion, a lot of value there. I've also been asked a lot how I'm going to handle Swift updates, right? Like Swift 6 and iOS 14 and all that stuff. Now, I plan on this course being relevant for a long time, so of course I'm going to update it. How I'm going to do that is, when Swift 6 or Swift 7, whatever comes out, if the changes are relatively minor, I'll go ahead and update the source code everywhere, but then I'll also create a video, probably towards the end of the course, that says like, what's new in Swift 6? And I'll go through and showcase all the changes in the code base of what changed in the new Swift or the new iOS. So that's the most likely outcome, because now that Swift is maturing, I don't see a ton of like breaking changes, because if there is a drastic breaking holy crap change, I'll go back and re-record the original videos. But I think, because Swift is maturing, it's going to be minor changes that I can just sum up in one like, hey, here are all the changes in Swift 6. And then you just watch that video and then you're up to date. So that's how I'm going to handle it. Again, quick and easy ones, dedicated video. Major ones, I'll re-record the originals. And then finally, at the request of students, I've created a Slack channel that is meant for all my courses. Of course, right now, the only course is this one, the Take Home Project, but eventually there's going to be beginner courses, Swift UI courses, and more specialized courses. Again, this is over like, a couple years, but this Slack channel is kind of like the home for the students, and then each course will have its own room that you can talk about that specific course. But it's also a great way to, network with other students, right? Because I always say this about networking. You don't always have to network with somebody that has 10 years experience, working at Apple, right? Don't get me wrong, that'd be a great connection. But what's also super valuable is networking with your peers right now, because that's an investment, right? Sure, they may just be learning just like you right now, but if you fast forward the clock, 3, 4, 5 years from now, they may be working at a major company. And if you've built up that friendship, again, these are just good connections to have all over the iOS industry. So don't neglect networking with people that are just learning. And also real quick about the Slack channel, again, like I said, it's going to house all my courses, so there could potentially be a lot of students in there. Again, hopefully the discussions are segregated based on the course, but I do want to talk about my involvement. Of course, I'm going to try to chime in anywhere I can, but I don't want to promise that I'm going to be able to answer every question. Again, as you can imagine, it's going to be a lot of questions. It would be a full-time job just answering Slack questions. So the big value of the Slack community, again, like I mentioned, networking with other up-and-coming developers, but also students helping students, right? That's going to be what most of the Slack channel is. Again, of course, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to be active. I just can't promise that I'm going to answer every single question, right? It would be too much. So that was my quick little update message again after I received a ton of feedback and questions from students. Let's get back to coding this project.